Welcome back to the Anarchy Analysis series, where today we're going in a little bit different. In matter of fact, we are focusing in on DRX for this one. We've got 5 players in this squad, and they are pivotal pieces into how this team made it to the World Finals. So strap on in as we take a deep dive into how DRX have made it to the finals. So let's get into this. We're going into the top lane with Kingen. Now this guy is doing things on the weak side. He plays these more supportive top laners, the Ornns and the Maokais, but he can also play the Camille, the Fiora and the Aatrox that have been a bit more prevalent in terms of sustaining through lane, and that is something this guy is very good at. He tends to take L's in terms of CS, XP, and obviously gold in that case, as he doesn't get too much invested into him. And the reason being, and why we know he doesn't get much put into him, is that he has the highest vision score per minute for a top laner at Worlds. Reason I'm saying that is he is setting up vision for the rest of his team so they can play safe, so they can secure lane victories and dominate their opponents. Kingen has just been a solid rock for this team that can apply pressure when needs be in the late game to draw opponents down to him. That is how he is played, and more specifically, this dude has sacrificed his early game lanes, TP'd to other lanes in the bot lane more specifically, got deft and barreled some advantage, and then continued back on his merry way back to the top lane, losing, I'd say, a wave or two of CS just so his bot lane can stay in the game. This dude has been very solid for DRX in how they want to do their strat. Let's get into the jungle now, Piosik. This dude, honestly, when coming into Worlds, no one really expected him to be playing that much. There was more expectation that Juhan would get more than just the one game he's had, but Piosik, he has been the lifeblood of this team. Let me just rattle out some of the achievements this dude has here in the World Championships for junglers. Highest KDA as a jungler, lowest deaths as a jungler, highest vision score per minute as a jungler, highest average wards per minute, highest average ward clearing per minute. If that doesn't tell you this guy is going around placing wards like mad and clearing out the enemy vision just so he can play with his lanes in a safe and comfortable position, I don't know what is. Piosik has been dominant this tournament, and it's kind of a return to form from when he was last at the World Championships. This guy has been thriving on less engage heavy picks in terms of the Poppy being one of the only ones, and the Vi, that he has picked up here at the championships. But he's tend to played these kind of carry late game farm heavy picks, the Graves, and more importantly, his goddamn Kindred and Viego, which have just been absolute demons for this player. And when he gets these picks, he tends to create pressure in the bot lane for death. He has early at 15 minutes or before kills in the bot lane most predominantly. In fact, he doesn't have too many outside of the bot lane here in this World Championship. And as such, he has been kind of keeping his team going in that bot lane. And there is a huge story as to why he's having to do this, but we'll get to that after we talk about the player that could be deemed MVP of the World Championships. And that guy is their superstar mid laner Zeka. Honestly, this guy has been thriving on these assassin-like or playmaker picks. He's kind of given away the control mage era of the mid lane that we've seen pretty much through the majority of playoffs in terms of the Azir being such a high priority. While he is okay on this pick, it's not something we've seen him thrive on too heavily. The picks he's gone to is that Silas and the Akali that just have executed opponent after opponent. And this is huge in how he's been playing, because late game, he has the highest solo kills for any mid laner. He has the highest average kills for any mid laner. And this dude has just been slaying. And what's more important to note is, while he is slaying, he's setting up his own picks with the second highest wards per minute for mid laners this entire championship. This dude has been insane. With the third highest CS per minute, this mid lane for DRX has been getting them lead after lead after lead that's just popping off into the late game to allow the likes of Deft and Beryl and maybe Piosic, who have also gone these scaling picks, to get up to speed very early. And it's just a fast tempo really that Zeka generates for this DRX lineup that's just got them to this world final. It's time to talk about the bot lane and someone who has been on his last dance. One last hurrah could be for this player as Deft races the world final stage. This dude is arguably one of the best ADCs in the world right now, and at this world championship, while he's not been the outstanding in terms of talked about players in this DRX lineup, he is still performing to a high level, dominating lane. DRX do tend to have a very slow mentality in how they generate their leads, but it's their bot lane who have the early game leads, as well as Zeka from time to time, but Deft and Beryl have just been generating leads early. And the reason being is because of their picks. They are picking lane bullies and siege heavy picks in the Caitlyn, the Ashe and the MF. It's a very hard set of champions to deal with, especially considering not many people are picking up these three picks. Now, Deft is also surprisingly third for vision score per minute, and you're noticing I'm bringing up that stat for every single player here at the World Championships, or for DRX, and it's important because it's so huge in the DRX game. People don't really point it out, but it is securing them these victories. And with the fact that your ADC, who is probably going to be your main damage dealer, is putting down a lot of wards, it's kind of a big signal to how DRX is playing. And finally, we have the only player here to make it to back-to-back World Finals in Beryl. After what could be only considered a shoddy spring split, as well as a disappointing end to the World Finals last year, Beryl is kind of on his bounce back here. He is getting to the World Final form that he won the championship with DRX in. This guy has been picking picks to bully lane alongside his very big bully Deft. The Heimerdinger being such an unstoppable monster for this dude. And other picks like Karma have also come through. These poke heavy picks, again, Lux is also there, that are just big enchanter lane bullies. Very little in terms of these engage picks for Mr. Beryl, as Amumu is his most played in terms of that category, and that's usually paired with the MF, because you have that super insane wombo combo. The fact is, since play-ins, Amumu and the likes of the Maokai that were popular down there have not found that same success during the group stage and onwards, and they've kind of been dropped out of many teams' kind of comps. As such, we haven't seen engages heavily out of Beryl, and before this World Championships you would have said he was mainly an engaged champ player, but no, we're seeing his Heimer come into fruition and absolutely smurf lane. He's definitely got me playing that in ranked, by the way. But let's get into more nitty gritty in terms of what Beryl has done here at the World Championships. He is 3rd for gold per minute. He is 2nd for damage percentage and damage per minute. And also 2nd for gold difference at 15. Winning bot laner means winning support in terms of gold. That's how we see it. And you just have to say this. Damage per minute for a support, while their primary goal usually isn't to do damage, the fact that he is getting this with enchanters is kind of insane. I mean, sure, Lux and also Heimer are more damage based enchanters. They still do essentially set up for the team. Lux has her own shield for Christ's sake, but Heimer, I guess, is pretty much more raw damage, so that kind of explains why he's so high in terms of that stat. And I should also point out, he probably would be 1st place for damage, but there was the odd Senna games that somehow class as a support, even though it's technically an ADC, go figure. But regardless, Beryl has been popping off, and he's actually the only support or player on this DRX team not to rank highly on the vision score per minute chart. And that's kind of counterintuitive considering this guy builds Sightstone or a Sightstone equivalent now. So he has all the wards. But yeah, that's kind of funny for this DRX lineup. But yeah, let's transition to the whole team here, because I kind of want to talk about how they've essentially made it here to the finals. So let's talk about how DRX use their vision. As you can see here, they're walking into the red side jungle, more specifically where the blue buff is. As you can see, they've set up some deep wards here, so that once this Graves walks through with his glaive, Umbral Glaive, and clears out the vision, he essentially might miss wards. More specifically, that ward that you can see on screen right there in the mid lane. Now we see Piosik just walking around the map. He knows Graves is on the bottom side, so he's going up to the top side, give a bit of cover to his mid laner, who is just clearing out the wave, and yeah, protection is secured. On the bottom half of the map, this Graves got a bit too far forward. He was spotted on that big old control ward in the middle lane, and as such he gets chunked out when Beryl hits that binding. But what do you know, that vision that DRX have secured behind allows them to go for these deep TP flanks. Because of this, immediately Lehends is put down low, but it isn't gonna be him who falls first. It is instead the Gragas who gets the big body with his cask onto the Graves. Then it's just very easy for Piosik to bait out damage with his Lamb's Respite, and boom, DRX get out of there with 2 kills. This is 22 minutes into the game. That's the first 2 kills for them on the map. And you know, that's big. And look, immediately back to clearing out vision. And you just see across the map, the bottom half of the map has vision secured. They'll probably look to transition up to the top side, which is seeing pings. But there you go. DRX playing the map for vision. Then you have Piosik, obviously on a very vision heavy pick in the Kindred. as you need to secure vision in the enemy jungle to be able to know where the jungler is to see if it's worth going for her marks. So yeah, just watching DRX clear out vision here, protect the map, and this is kind of the only time I think this game where they've struggled to control vision, and it's around the Baron pit. If they walk in here, they'll probably all get clapped, but notice they got a blue trinket on Baron. They knew that Genji weren't doing it, and as such, Genji can't really go for the Baron here because DRX respect them enough to not walk directly into them, and as such, back to clearing more vision, and back to essentially DRX just playing a perfect vision game. But with that said, that's how DRX have been playing at this World Championships, and again, just getting picked off by vision. The wards that were already placed, catching out Peanut, and yeah, DRX picking up kills. And yeah, I'm going to end this video off here before more picks come off in favor of DRX due to their immaculate vision. Thank you very much for joining me. If you have enjoyed this sort of breakdown of DRX's style, leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're new around here if you want to. I'll see you guys for the T1 breakdown. Peace out.